So thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Jai Shri Ram.
So there are so many things which we may want to learn, know from you. So to begin with, how come from a doctor, practicing doctor, from an actor, and then into politics? How did this happen, sir?
VIG, I always term it as a multiplication of happiness. Had I been only a doctor, I would have catered, say, if I would have been a very successful doctor, I would have catered, say, 500 people a day. So I would have spread happiness in lives of 500 people. As an actor, when I used to perform on stage, there used to be 1,000, 2,000 people in the auditorium. So I used to spread happiness in 1,000, 2,000 lives. But with the values that Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj instilled in Maharashtra's soil, if you carry those values, keep your morals intact with high regards to democracy. So as a member of parliament or as a politician, your single act, your single decision, if it's taken in public interest, if it's taken with moral values intact, then it can spread happiness in lakhs of people. So I feel from doctor to actor to politician, it's only a multiplication of happiness. And both earlier professions are helping me a lot during my this stint as a public representative.
So actually, because you're not a very stranger to your constituency, because I'm sure you have reached all of them through their television, and their expectation during the COVID would have also been really very high. They would have seen you like a superhero who can come and take them out of all the challenges. But for you, being the first time member of parliament, and thanks to COVID, which has given you a very crazy experience of handling the situation. So how did you cater the situations?
Reju, we can spread this COVID situation in three parts. I would like to spread it into three parts. It was during first wave in 2019, then it was second wave, and the threat of third wave. As a member of parliament, but as I said, ki my earlier professions, being a doctor and being an actor, helped me a lot. During first wave, it was my earnest duty to make my people aware of what COVID is all about. Because if we have gone through the recent past, people were not aware. They were told in very difficult languages, but in their how a layman should understand. So that needed to be told. So I made a series of videos. You can see all those videos on my all social media pages, and it has millions of views for those pages where I tried to explain what COVID is all about, what care was about to take, how the multiplication of cases in COVID goes on. So that helped me a lot. Even during second wave, the same trend continued. How we can tackle this situation, be it first was the multiplication of COVID virus, the need of social distancing, uh, what is social distancing, proper wear of mask, proper use of mask, because these are some basic public education points which needed to be told to public. And I tried to make it through these multiple videos. Then use of remdesivir, judicious use of drugs. Then it was how to maintain your oxygen level prior to getting hospitalized. What are the early warning signs? What is the importance of early detection in COVID cases? These were a series of videos. I think there must have been some 20 odd videos regarding this. Every week I used to put up a video, and the video used to spread, and many people thank me for those videos also. As a doctor, the role was completely different. During first wave, it was first to understand this new virus, this new disease, uh, and myself being new as everyone was, it was needed to understand the disease first. So after having discussion with multiple experts from medicine field, who happen to be my seniors, my colleagues, so I gathered knowledge and tried to spread this knowledge to other people. So during first wave, it was necessary to understand the nature, then make the infrastructure available in my constituency. And I can very proudly say in Shirur Lok Sabha constituency, if you see in Maharashtra, in rural area, the first COVID center, the first CCC was established in Shirur Lok Sabha constituency at Lenadri. Then there was a difficulty during earlier stages because the RT-PCR centers, the RT-PCR tests were being carried out only at the district levels. So people had to travel to the district level, say some 70 kilo in my constituency, 75 kilometers odd. They had to wait for the result and then they had to come back. While bringing them to the district center, there used to be transport facilities available, and otherwise while returning, sometimes the ambulance used to get engaged and the people had a lot of difficulty. And there was hesitance in getting yourself tested, which has been a big challenge throughout, which I'll definitely speak during the challenge of third wave. But we established first RT-PCR diagnostic center apart from the district hospital. We established that facility at Lenadri in Junner Tehsil. Then we established another facility in Chakan, that is the another Tehsil in my constituency, which is a industrial hub. Then we established a third facility at Wagholi, which was very early during first wave. The RT-PCR centers were established. When other people were insisting or relying on rapid antigen test, I must comment and I must appreciate government of Maharashtra, the way Maharashtra CM Honorable Uddhav Thackeray and Deputy CM Ajit Dada Pawar reacted to COVID's even first wave and second wave, because Maharashtra being a very densely populated state, that too, there are many metros in Maharashtra like Mumbai, which was a very big challenge to tackle with. There used to be a regular weekly review meetings by our guardian minister, who happens to be Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Honorable Ajit Dada Pawar, and there used to be a free discussion on what steps are to be taken, what care has to be taken. So it was an comparatively easier journey because of cooperation of our guardian minister and Honorable DCM Ajit Dada Pawar. The needs and the suggestions were well accepted and executed. The result, you'll see, Pune city was a hotspot during first wave, but the death rate of Pune had climbed to 9, and then it came down to below 1, and which is a really commendable thing. So these were the measures taken as a doctor. Then there was a major step taken in FabiFlu. If you must have heard, FabiFlu has been used in mild cases when it was introduced first. It was introduced as a treatment guideline for treatment for COVID cases. But when I went through all the research, clinical research, which was done for FabiFlu, the research was inadequate. And I, as a member of parliament, I brought it to the notice of Health Ministry as well as Drug Controller General of India. Initially, the FabiFlu's price was 128 rupees per tablet, and a patient had to consume 14 tablets a day. When I raised these two alarms, first was it is not the treatment guideline. It can be used as an adjuvant therapy. And second was the high price that was 128 rupees. I can proudly say after that follow-up, there were a series of meetings conducted by Drug Controller General of India, and FabiFlu's cost was reduced to 65 rupees. Also, FabiFlu indications were strictly given that it is only can be used in mild cases, because the research was saying that. It was nothing against the company or that, but as a public representative, I should bring this to notice of the people, which I did, and that benefited all our countrymen. That FabiFlu's price was reduced to half, and its exact indication was recommended. Then was the use of tocilizumab. There was too much hassle in use of tocilizumab, and there was rampant use of tocilizumab in earlier phases. But when the Roche Pharma declared that tocilizumab has no role in general management of COVID, that also I raised voice at state level also for COVID task force also, and tocilizumab only when cytokine storm is seen, then only there is role of tocilizumab. So these two things as a from a medical point of view I could manage. As a public representative during first wave, there was, as we know, there was lockdown, and many people, especially the migrant laborers, were stranded at different places. So we had to start some shelter for them. We had to give food to them, food ration kits to them. So there was almost more than 5,000 kits were donated to different people through public donation. And I'm really proud to say that all the people from my constituency came forward and helped me in this cause. In my constituency, there are two big MIDCs. One is Ranjangaon and the other is Chakan. There, in Ranjangaon MIDC and in Chakan MIDC, free kitchens were started. Then similar kitchens were started in Hadapsar constituency also. All our MLAs in Shirur constituency, they also proactively worked for this. So the need for food was taken care of during the first wave. During second wave, the pattern was completely changed, because during first wave the emphasis was on COVID care centers and it was only isolation. But the way second wave broke in, I always say the second wave got us napping, and there was some false narrative. I'm not going to make a political statement here, but let me be very honest, and everyone will agree with me. There was a false narrative set up in the country that we have conquered first wave or we have conquered COVID vibes. And when eminent people in country who or eminent office bearers in the country claim that publicly, then there was a false narrative set up during Diwali and post Diwali that COVID is nowhere. COVID cannot uh, break Indians' immunity. And we were caught napping during the second. When the second wave came, the pattern, as I said, the pattern of the virus was changed. It was definitely mutation, the mutations. And because of mutations, we have seen many cases that the patient sometimes was asymptomatic and suddenly he got breathless, suddenly he needed oxygen, suddenly he was needed to shift to hospital. And in during first wave, then when the need of COVID care centers was more, during second wave, the need of tertiary care was much important, because there was early lung involvement. The lung involvement used to take place around 6 or 7 days. So we have seen many cases that पहले 5 दिन पेशेंट एकदम ठीक है, 5-6 दिन पेशेंट ठीक है, और suddenly patient becomes breathless. Then there was a term called happy hypoxia which was seen, कि पहले तो ऑक्सीजन saturation maintain है, suddenly oxygen saturation drop हो गया. So there was sudden need of tertiary care center. As a member of parliament, during my speech on demand and grants for health and family welfare, I had raised this issue in last session only, that need of tertiary healthcare is the need of the country, and which should be addressed aggressively, so that the tertiary healthcare can be made available to rural India. The scenario which we saw, especially in rural area, what we saw was the cities were jammed by the patients. The city had to cater its own population. Firstly, we don't have public hospitals in proportion with the population. We have many public hospitals or even district hospitals on geographical basis, which was also another point during that speech or during that demand, that the number of district hospitals or number of public hospitals should be in correlation with the population and not only the geographical. So it had to be both. The city hospitals had to cater to cities residents, and as well as there was much overload from the rural areas on these hospitals, and the health system was about to collapse. So as a public representative, the second role was important to make hospital beds available in all these hospitals. And third thing was to convince even private hospitals for step down protocol. During all these COVID review meetings, I insisted on this issue of step down protocol, so that the ICU beds get available to the needy, and only people who can afford or who are rich, they should not occupy the bed for longer time. uh, for the matlab, this was done in the cause of humanity. Then there was second big issue in everywhere we noticed was the availability of remdesivir. So very early we did was making remdesivir available to central fees. So it was distributed through FDA, and it was routed through district magistrates. So the remdesivir availability and black marketing of remdesivir could be controlled. This also was a voice I raised during that second wave. Then, as I earlier mentioned, it was awareness video. The awareness videos during first wave were basically making people only aware of COVID, but during second wave, it was regarding the judicious use of drugs, the early warning symptoms, how to maintain your oxygen level by CAR protocol. What is CAR protocol? So I explained that CAR protocol to general public through these videos. And there was another initiative which I took during second wave was training the doctors, which was very necessary because doctors from all faculties started these COVID centers or DCSCs. So when I went through all the DCSC people, some of the doctors were somewhere BMS, some were BHMS, and the standard treatment guidelines, which were framed by state task force, state COVID task force, were not communicated. They had many doubts. So we had a one-to-one session with all these doctors through Zoom meeting. We conducted many training programs for these doctors, and that really helped during second wave. Now there are many challenges in third wave. Again, the third wave's challenge is basically some experts are saying it might hamper or it might affect pediatric age group more. So in my constituency, there are two jumbo centers. There is one jumbo facility which has been already created. Another jumbo facility is at my district place. So there are.
How many people were affected in your constituency?
Can't say the exact number because it's a floating population. My constituency, there is a lot of floating population. So the exact numbers, we can't say the exact numbers, how many people affected. But yeah, almost in every village, there were patients, there were many deaths, but later on, we could prevent many deaths. And it was I should appreciate this effort by government of Maharashtra, our health minister of Maharashtra, Mr. Rajesh Tope, and our CM, our honorable chief minister, being very proactive on COVID. That definitely helped to bring down the caseload. In tertiary care, definitely the pediatric population is at risk, as what experts say, and that's why we have created pediatric facilities. We have created pediatric ICUs in our constituency, as well as there is a challenge of vaccination. So earlier people were about to convince, we needed to convince about vaccination, but at present in Pune district, daily 1 lakh people can be vaccinated. The only concern is about the vaccine supply.
Compilation of how a person can float through the first wave, second wave, and prepare for the third wave. In fact, so you have made us realize how important is it to have doctors in our parliament, because now we are focusing more on the health sector. So it is important for experts like you to come and give us such clarity and guidance on how we have to take things forward. In fact, that was very, very fantastic to hear from you, sir. And it is more a pleasure to hear it in the very authentic way. It has to be, we're hearing it from the expert, like what more can we ask for? And how do you connect with them emotionally, sir? Because you have had really clean, planned way of administration, and I'm sure you have handled the situation very effectively. How did you emotionally give support to your, the COVID patients, their family, and the ground touch? How did you go to the ground touch?
So the ground touch was meeting people physically was not actually possible, and it was against what we were advising, that to keep social distancing and not make crowd or that's why it was through Zoom meetings. It was series of Zoom meetings. It was video calls. I have some cases that they demanded me to make a video call to them, and that is such a pleasure that there was a close reporter, a reporter from my constituency who was affected by COVID, and his doctor requested me, sir, आप एक please काम करिए, मैं वीडियो कॉल लगा देता हूँ, आप सिर्फ वीडियो कॉल पे इतना बोल दीजिए कि आप ठीक हो जाओगे, don't worry, take all the precautions and you'll be fine. And he has recovered.
And how
Then there was a
assistance, sir?
Pardon?
Financial assistance, was there any financial assistance that you have helped with?
No, financial assistance, definitely we could not give this financial assistance, but yes, for medical bills, I can proudly say there were some non-affording patients, and some doctors from my constituency have actually waived off many bills just on a phone call. Bills of lakhs of rupees on just a phone call, and that entirely, I should thank these doctors on this occasion. That they respected that phone call and they waived off lakhs of rupees bills, and which actually benefited the patients.
And because your constituency is majorly rural, what was the biggest challenge in making them understand about the intensity of COVID?
The basic difficulty was to make them aware of the disease, to make them aware about the challenge, because there were 3 phases. One was मुझे कुछ नहीं होगा, मुझे क्या हो सकता है. दूसरा was अगर मुझे हो गया तो क्या. And third was कि जिनके घर में दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण घटना हुई है, कोविड का पेशेंट गया है, उनकी मेंटालिटी अलग थी. तो इन तीनों को एक साथ कैटर करके उन्हें बोलना कि दिस इज अ चैलेंज, एज ऑनरेबल रतन टाटा जी हैज राइटली सेड, राइटली कोटेड, ही वेरी अर्ली ही कोटेड कि ये टिक के रहने का वक्त है, अगर टिकेंगे तो बढ़ेंगे. तो जैसे हिस्ट्री में कहते हैं, अगर बचेंगे तो और भी लड़ेंगे. उस हिसाब से वो बचना बहुत जरूरी था, और इसीलिए अपने लोगों को बचाना बहुत जरूरी था, और ये बचना जरूरी है, ये उन्हें बताना जरूरी है.
And how did you handle the fake news? How did you handle the hype which was created in the media, and the amount of emotional turmoils which was happening during the WhatsApp messages? How did you handle that in your constituencies?
Whenever I came across such news or such fake medias or such hype, I used to give a loud and clear message, either through media only or through my social media, through my followers, and it used to get clear. And in Maharashtra, I can proudly say that there were no such very big rumors or no such very big hype. Everyone was available. Our health minister used to interact with people. Our honorable CM used to interact with people. We as public representatives used to tell what the truth is all about. And that's why there was no much media confusions or some rumors through WhatsApp. But yes, definitely there was a difficulty in tackling one rumor that was, again, I can say that was a inefficiency of Ayush ministry overall, because there were some treatments used to flourish in WhatsApp University. The WhatsApp University was a big headache during this entire COVID there, because people used to tell कि ये करो, इससे कुछ नहीं होगा. लेकिन उसके लिए had Ayurveda or homeopathy been researched thoroughly and used as adjuvant therapy for the COVID virus, it would have definitely helped, because there are some very good principles in Ayurveda. But there was no fixed platform to set up this. There was no fixed platform to coordinate these Ayurveda experts or who have researched with allopaths who were treating COVID. Was no platform to share their experience with COVID task force. That was a fallacy which I noticed during this.
And right, sir. That's so nice, sir, because you are one of the youngest MPs from your constituency, and in fact, you have also been very potentially proving yourself. So we would want to know what will be your advice for youngsters who want to join politics from various fields, because as a doctor, you've jumped into politics, well, doctor to actor to politics. And what will be your advice for youngsters who want to join politics?
My advice would be it's a multiplication of happiness. That's why if your morals are intact and if your intention is pure, definitely the sky is the limit, and you can definitely do a lot for your country. You can definitely do a lot for your countrymen. But the only thing in politics is one should remember always that chair is temporary, human is permanent.
And what for people who don't find opportunities to grow?
People, everyone has an opportunity to work for the society. The way is different. जैसा हम कहते हैं कि मंजिल एक ही है, लोगों के लिए काम करना, रास्ते शायद अलग अलग। अगर मुझे सिर्फ राजनीति का रास्ता ही दिख रहा है तो और भी कई रास्ते हैं, जैसे सोशल वर्क का रास्ता है। अगर आप एक बहुत सक्सेसफुल एंटरप्रेन्योर होके कोई लोगों के लिए एम्प्लॉयमेंट क्रिएट कर सकते हैं, वो भी एक रास्ता है। these all things are going to build our country, these all things are going to build nation. So रास्ते अलग अलग है, मुझे यही रास्ता चाहिए, ये सोच के कितनी देर तक चलना है। और अगर ये रास्ता, जैसे as you rightly said, some people might not get opportunity, but definitely opportunities have to be created, what I always say.
Wonderful, sir. Because usually what younger generation of political aspirants say is that, okay, he belongs to that lineage, she belongs to that lineage. The route was easier for them. But I see you growing right from the day one with all your hard work, and you stood out for your own self. So for whatever you are today, it is just your individual impact to what you have added, and you have created opportunities like you rightly said. So now that you have categorically told us how that first wave, second wave, and third wave, and how do you prepare? So what will be your advice for the third wave, sir? How do we take care of ourselves? Because they are scaring that the children are going to be affected. So what would you want to advise to all of us?
Firstly, as I interacted with many experts, it has been a trend that during first wave, senior citizens were more affected than the age group was changed, and that's why they are speculating that third wave will affect children more. But precisely considering the immunity, and there are two lines of immunity, that is B cell and T cell immunity, and T cell immunity is really strong in children. So though the children will be affected, I'm really confident that there won't be a serious disease will not be seen in children, which is I'm hopeful about. Definitely factors like malnutrition and other infections and childhood comorbidities definitely will play a role. But the prime thing against COVID's third wave is again vaccination. People should get vaccinated. Governments should make vaccines available. तो जैसे भी जो भी वैक्सीन अवेलेबल है वो वैक्सीन पहले लेना ये बहुत जरूरी बात है। और ड्यूरिंग थर्ड वेव जो हमने दूसरी वेव में देखा, ये जो सीख हमें मिली है, दैट इज अर्ली डायग्नोसिस और अर्ली डिटेक्शन इज द की। सो अगर हमें सिम्टम्स है, अगर हमें कोविड लाइक सिम्टम्स है, तो इमीडिएटली खुद को आइसोलेट करा के get yourself tested, rely on the tests which are more reliable, which are gold standard like RT-PCR. ऐसे टेस्ट पे rely होके, it's a matter of self-discipline. You cannot blame each and everything, or you cannot put entire onus on the government. It's a matter of self-discipline, and if people continue this self-discipline, avoid again we are going to the basic, कि जो basic line था कोविड का, वो लाइन अभी भी बरकरार है। तो वो लाइन बरकरार रखने के लिए अगर सेल्फ डिसिप्लिन के थ्रू हम इसे फेस करें, हम अर्ली डायग्नोसिस पे इस पे और ज्यादा जोर दें, लाइक व्हाट we did in my constituency, that setting up different RT-PCR centers at different places. So if the diagnostic facilities will be more available or easily available, so definitely people will be able to diagnose themselves, and if needed, quarantine themselves or go for hospital admission. So during third wave, vaccination and early diagnosis are the two keys, and third thing is self-discipline and COVID appropriate behavior.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you so much. In fact, as you just said, that all aspirants into politics should remember that this chair is not permanent, but we pray that you stay longer in this chair to make much of a difference, and to be a bigger motivation for many youngsters to take up roles in politics.